No idea, apparently, about the photos that were on the screen while he was speaking. So I'll allow the people on his table to let him know what we were watching as listening to his words. I understand that the conference chair has been tasked with looking at the sundial. Peter, good luck for tomorrow, because we're already about 20 minutes late at the start. So I'll do my best to get us back on track. Now, to set the scene, and before I do that, for those of you who may not know who I am, as Andrew said, I chair the Tourism Alliance, but my day job is the Chief Executive of the British Hospitality Association. And the way to sum up who we are and what we do on a day-to-day basis is very simply to say that our job is to ensure that British hospitality is the best in the world. And to be the best in the world, one would assume we have to grow. And that's why we really welcome the conference theme this year of Keys to Growth. Very well chosen title for an industry that boasts growth. Growth in terms of the fact that we are already the 4th largest employer in the United Kingdom. We are generating huge and significant wealth to the Treasury and to the UK economy. And we have grown over the past 2 years, challenging the entire economy and ahead of the economy in terms of the volume of our growth and the contribution of hospitality to the UK Treasury and the economy overall. So you should all be very, very proud of your achievement, because it's your achievements that have actually created that line and the gap between our growth and the rest of the economy. And if you want to understand exactly what that means, well, we generated over the past 2 years 1 in 4 of every new job created in the United Kingdom. That's 153,000 new jobs UK-wide, which is a huge achievement of growth for an industry, any industry in the UK, during a very difficult economic period. Much to be proud of. And if we get our work right, and if we do continue to challenge the best worldwide, there is a very clear, feasible, achievable possibility that we will generate as an industry, every one of you in this room and the rest of our colleagues UK-wide will generate a further 300,000 jobs by 2020. And that figure is our target. That's our mission at the BHA. We work every single day. My colleague Martin, whom you'll hear from later this morning, and I, we wake up and we get to work, and we work with all of you and with others who affect our growth to ensure that we can achieve that target. Now, in just 1 year, we have generated over 33,000 opportunities as an industry for 16 to 24-year-olds through the big hospitality conversation. Phenomenal. And Martin will give you the latest figure on that too. Surprisingly, well, it is surprising. You'll see. Very exciting. Now, growth is measured in volume. And just to set the scene for you for today, I brought to you a slide that was brought together by Deloitte and launched just a couple of weeks ago, presenting for us growth in terms of volume for our industry from a tourism perspective, 2010, 2011, 2012, and projections, expectations for year-end at 2013. You can see there that our total UK tourism expenditure has grown year on year. £113 billion is the expectation as at end 2013 in terms of the amount of monies that have been generated by tourism in the UK economy. Overseas visitors' spend has increased year on year. Spending by domestic tourism also increased year on year, and you can see there how important the domestic tourism economy is to our businesses in the UK. But if you actually break that down and look at how we can continue to drive that growth in terms of volume and productivity, you can see that we have a huge opportunity to really generate more overnight trips and to ensure that people are spending longer in our hotels when they actually come to visit. Because that's where our growth has not happened. It's actually not performed as well as the other areas, particularly day trips, as you can see. So an opportunity there for growth that each one of us must focus on: productivity, driving yield further and further. Deloitte went on to talk about drivers of growth. So I picked out a few of their drivers of growth for you to set for you their view on what keys to growth should be for our industry. Deloitte said we should be wary of international tourism growth, embrace that. We should be wary of international competitive environment because that's growing. Now, I just want to give you a quick figure on international tourism growth. In 1980, there were 280 million trips worldwide. Last year, there were over 1 billion trips recorded worldwide. And according to UN's expectations, each year, there will be a further 43 million international visits worldwide. Our job as a country, as a business, as a hotel, is to ensure that we can ensure our competitive position within this growing global market is improved and that we can drive further growth to our businesses and the UK economy. And it's getting tougher. Competition is getting tougher. Cross-cutting, in Deloitte's terms, really relates to the fact that there are drivers of growth that affect both our consumers and the supply side of our industry. And they've picked out two and said these are the key drivers of growth that we as an industry need to be focused on: the digital world, legislation, and regulation. And then in terms of supply, businesses, they talk about the quality of our infrastructure, they talk about the connectivity of our infrastructure, and they talk about marketing. Interestingly, they didn't talk much about people, but I'm very pleased that our next speaker will help to focus our attention on that, because that's our key asset, our key strength, and an area for us to really drive growth moving forward in our businesses. A quick illustration for you on the competition. In 2010, the Prime Minister set two objectives for the UK tourism industry. He said one of those was to ensure that we were back in the top 5 of the world's most competitive countries looking at our competition. Unfortunately, we haven't succeeded in that. We've actually slipped down. Now we're in 8th position. And you can see the figures there for yourself. So we do have our work cut out for us. It's not just about growing volume. It's about growing our competitive position, looking at the competition, putting that growth into perspective, and looking at that in terms of relative growth to what's happening worldwide. If you also look at other factors of competition, we haven't been doing well as a country on price, for example. We used to be 135th out of 139 countries in terms of our price competitiveness, specific to tax-related charges to visiting or taking a trip in the UK, i.e. APD and VAT. 135th out of 139. The only other countries in the world that were less competitive than us were Chad, Timor-Leste, Senegal, and the Ivory Coast. Well, guess what? We are now 139th out of 140, and the only country I understand that is less competitive than the United Kingdom in terms of the taxes that we apply to our visitors, be they visitors here, staycationers, or those visiting our country, is Chad. So, drivers of growth. It's not just about what each one of you can do in this room. It's also about what each one of us can do collectively in this room to get others who have an impact on our growth to actually focus on making sure that we can deliver 300,000 new jobs moving forward, that we can deliver 60,000 jobs and apprenticeships and opportunities for 16 to 24-year-olds over the coming 2 years. It's about getting these guys to do exactly that. I challenge each one of you to get in touch with these people and to make sure that they have an opportunity to come and spend a day as a concierge, working at reception, helping as a porter. Get them to understand our business. Get them to understand the impact that we have, not just on volume, but on growing the United Kingdom in terms of the contribution that we make to employment and youth unemployment, in terms of our political capital, in terms of the way in which we engage with people, customers, our own people, communities, and the value of the jobs that we are creating. We can innovate. You know, it's interesting, 42% of our workforce is under the age of 30. And if it's true, and if we can make the generalization that young people are tech savvy, then our industry must be sitting on the verge of being the most technologically savvy in terms of the digital world, embracing social media and connecting with customers compared to every other industry. So let's make use of that. These are some of the keys to growth that I wanted to share with you. And I want to end my comments, my opening remarks, by saying, please make sure, if you have not already done so, this is the only ask that the BHA gives you as a task, get in touch with your local MP, educate him or her, get them to engage in your business, and work with the BHA to make sure that we have an entire government that really are ready to focus on growth and translate those drivers of growth into reality and into delivery, into results. Now I'm going to repeat for you the hashtag for questions, because when you listen to our next speaker, we really want to make sure that we quiz our speakers at the end. And I'll be coming back up to join the speaker and to read out to him your questions, which will be tweeted throughout the conference. So get tweeting. And on that, I'm going to introduce our next speaker to you. It's very exciting because the next speaker will really take everything about team building, leadership, people management, peak performance, recruitment, retention, everything that differentiates us from other sectors in the United Kingdom, and that will lay down the pillars for the growth for this industry in the future. Jeff Grout, founder of JG Consulting, listed in the 100 best speakers in Britain. Over to you.